post tweet, he has brought to light, the Bud Light situation. What could you tell us about that? Where do things stand between you and Bud Light?
No, they terminated my contract immediately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's all good, man. I don't need that fucking poison in my life.
So you feel at peace with it?
I mean, it sucks that my family loses out on the money I had left on the deal with them, which is a few $100,000, but also if I'm representing something that I'm not going to be, if I'm advertising something I'm not going to be taking part in and promoting stuff that, it's just, it is what it is.
Sure.
He walks into the airport like he's walked into 1,000 arenas before, calm, confident, a man who's traded punches with the best lightweights on the planet and lived to tell about it. But this time there's no cage, no referee, no opponent standing across from him with gloves up. This time, the fight is happening inside him, and he doesn't even know it yet. Dustin Poirier, a name that means something in the fight game. A man who's gone toe-to-toe with legends, who's tasted interim gold, who's built a life on discipline, on getting back up when the world tries to put him down. But on this day, something breaks. Something in the pattern of a normal flight, a normal trip, starts to unravel. And by the time it's over, police are involved. Cameras are rolling somewhere out of frame, and a story is being written that Poirier never wanted his name attached to. He's pulled off the flight. Then, in the terminal, things get worse, much worse. According to reports, he becomes combative. The kind of combative that ends with law enforcement stepping in. The kind of combative that ends in handcuffs, not a trophy. A former UFC interim champion, a man trained to control chaos in a locked cage, loses control in an airport hallway. And just like that, the headlines write themselves. Arrested, public drunkenness, a fighter's reputation suddenly hanging by a thread. But here's where the story takes its first real turn, because in the business of sports, reputation isn't just personal. It's a product. It's a brand. And somewhere in a corporate office far from that Atlanta terminal, a phone starts ringing. Bud Light had bet on Dustin Poirier. They'd put him in commercials, stood him next to UFC voices like Bruce Buffer, built campaigns around his face, his story, his name. He wasn't just a fighter with a beer deal. He was the guy pouring the beer, smiling into the camera, representing responsible fun for a company built on it. And now the man they'd built a campaign around had just been arrested for the exact opposite of what that campaign stood for. Fans started noticing something was off before Poirier ever said a word. That commercial with Bruce Buffer, the one that used to feature him, started airing again. Except this time, he wasn't in it. Edited out. Quietly. No press release, no farewell tour, no soft landing. Just gone, like he'd been erased from his own advertisement. People online started asking questions. Was this a coincidence? Was Bud Light distancing itself? The silence said more than any statement could have. And then Poirier spoke. He didn't dodge it. He didn't spin it. He confirmed what everyone suspected. Bud Light didn't wait, didn't hesitate, didn't offer a second chance. The moment word got out, they ended the deal. Immediately. No warning shot. No grace period. A contract that had defined part of his public identity for years. Wiped out in what felt like the time it takes to make a phone call. Now, you'd expect bitterness. You'd expect a fighter, a man known for his intensity in the octagon, to come out swinging at the company that dropped him the second things got ugly. But that's not what happened. And this is where the story flips completely. Poirier wasn't angry at Bud Light. He understood. He even seemed to agree with the decision, in his own blunt, unfiltered way, admitting that he didn't want that kind of influence in his life anymore, calling it exactly what it had become for him. Something toxic, something he needed to walk away from regardless of what the contract said. But understanding doesn't erase cost. And the cost here was real. Poirier admitted the deal was worth serious money. A few $100,000, still left on the table, gone in an instant. That's not just his loss. That's his family's loss too. And he said as much, with the kind of honesty that doesn't usually make it into press statements. No spin, no excuses. Just a man laying out the price of his own mistake in plain terms. And then comes the moment that turns this whole story from a scandal into something deeper, something almost redemptive. Because Poirier didn't just accept the punishment. He explained the logic behind it, and it says everything about where his head is at now. How could he keep representing a beer company, keep smiling in commercials, keep cashing checks tied to alcohol, while he himself is fighting to stay away from it completely? He said it himself. If he's advertising something he can't take part in anymore, what's the point? It would be a lie every time the cameras rolled. So picture it. A man who built part of his public life around endorsing a product, now walking away from it, or being walked away from it, because that same product played a role in the worst public moment of his career. The irony isn't lost on him. It's not lost on anyone watching. Since that day in the airport, something has shifted in Dustin Poirier. He hasn't hidden from what happened. He's apologized, repeatedly, without excuses. He's praised the officers who handled the situation, who kept things from getting worse when a retired fighter, someone with real power behind every strike, was, by accounts, physically resisting them. Think about that for a second. A man capable of real damage in a real physical confrontation with police, and somehow it ended without catastrophe. That's not luck. That's restraint on someone's part, and Poirier knows it. And now, he's stopped drinking. Completely. Not moderation. Not damage control. A full stop. He's not pretending he's the guy who can have one beer and walk away clean. He said it plainly. Some people can drink responsibly. And if that's you, fine. Enjoy it. Have a Bud Light. Have whatever you want. But he knows, now more than ever, that he isn't one of those people. And pretending otherwise almost cost him everything. That's the real ending here. Not a canceled contract. Not a few $100,000. Not even the arrest itself. The real ending is a man who built his career on facing danger head-on in the cage, finally turning that same fearlessness inward, facing the one opponent he can't outstrike or outlast, only outlive, one sober day at a time. Dustin Poirier lost a sponsor, but somewhere in that Atlanta airport, in the handcuffs, in the headlines, in the honest, unflinching interview that followed, it looks like he found something far more valuable than any endorsement deal ever could have given him.